If you are thinking about moving to New Jersey, these are 11 factors that you must consider before making that move. In this video, we're going to rank those 11 factors in descending order, with 11 being the not so bad to the number 1 being the most significant factor to consider when buying a home here in the Garden State. My name is Corey Jones, and I'm a real estate agent in New Jersey, and I help hundreds of people just like you to both buy and sell homes here in the state of New Jersey. We're going to start today with number 11 of the 11 factors that absolutely are things to consider before making a move and buying a home here in New Jersey. Number 11 is going to be weather. Weather is very much seasonal. If you live in the Northeast, even somewhat mid-Atlantic, where I was born and raised, you're going to experience seasons here. The difference is if you come from a warmer area of the country or warmer area of the world that has extended periods of warmth, that is not the same in New Jersey. Our warm season is pretty much from about Memorial Day, end of May, beginning of June, into early mid-September. And outside of that time frame, it can be hit and miss in spring and fall in terms of some warm stretches, some cooler stretches. An extended winter is really how it feels in most cases. We're in spring right now. Just feels like winter in some cases, where there's 40-degree days, highs, sometimes in the low 50s, and it may be like today, mid-April. Benefit of the weather situation: if you enjoy the seasons, if you like fall weather, if you like winter, if you enjoy there being a spring, they're just very, very evenly balanced from the standpoint that your summer, really warm, hot season is only about, some cases, about 2.5 months, maybe 3. But the rest is going to be kind of like in that in-between cool days, warm days, and then very much an extended winter compared to other areas of the country. Factor number 10 is going to be the shrinking middle class in New Jersey. It may be a bit more pronounced in the state of New Jersey because we are so closely in proximity to New York City that a lot of individuals who are moving into the state, they do tend to have higher paying jobs. So the days of an abundance of the population being middle class, working class, where the jobs being manufacturing related, there still is plenty of construction because that's happening a lot. However, you have a lot of jobs that were those middle of the road kind of jobs when we're talking about income that do not exist the way they did just maybe 20 years ago. Definitely when you extend beyond 20 years, that's just not the case. New Jersey is very much hard to get by on a salary that is not pretty close to 6-figure, right? So that shrinking of the middle class and the working class has made it very, very difficult for many people to live comfortably in the Garden State. On the flip side of that coin, there are any number of jobs that pay very well here in New Jersey, and you don't have to be a commuter to New York City to have one of those jobs. There's a lot of corporate and pharmaceutical campuses located in New Jersey and really throughout the state. So there's a lot of opportunity here for those people who have those type of career paths and employment opportunities. So there is a brighter side to that, but for many, it has been a pain point in that your very much average kind of salary is very challenged in getting a comfortable living here in New Jersey. Number 9, schools. So here is the conundrum, if you will, about New Jersey. New Jersey is consistently ranked as one of the top performing public school states in the country, right? So we will consistently rank in that top 2 or 3 tier in most cases when it comes to the ratings of public schools. But here, in reality, in densely populated areas where municipalities are carved up in such a way that a given location close to New York City in a county could have 500,000 in population, could easily have 2-3 dozen school districts. Okay, so what that means is you may or may not be in a very high performing school district. You can be in one that is very average. You can be in one that's very poor performing, but next door, just a few blocks away or just a mile or two away from where that district is or where a home in that district is a neighboring district that is exceptional in terms of school ratings, right? So the school ratings are a blessing in that it is statewide. It is wonderful, high performing. The other side of that coin is it depends on where you live, and often your property value and property taxes reflect the quality of schools, right? So that's something to factor in as to, yes, we have great schools here, but we have a lot of disparity in one relatively small location in terms of which school districts are great and high performing and which ones are not. Coming in at number 8 is the age of the typical home found in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey is one of the original 13 colonies, so as you can surmise, there are areas that have really historic homes because those locations date back hundreds of years. Now, we don't have homes that are literally hundreds of years old, but over 100 years old, yes, we do. Anywhere in the country that's going to be very historic in terms of being in the location of the original 13 colonies. You go to California and some of those very early settlements, and those were Spanish settlements, of course, at that time, but dating back for many, many years. So you get the point. You are in certain areas that have been established for extended periods of time in terms of populations being there. They're going to be older homes. For some viewers like you who may be viewing right now, you absolutely love it. You love the architecture. You love the character. You love the history that comes with it. You love the fact that they don't make them like that anymore, and that in a certain time frame, even the building materials themselves were superior to what we use today. So those things are definitely pluses, but when it comes to older home inventory, there are concerns. There's concerns with some of the foundational, fundamental things with a house, such as plumbing and wiring. Knob and tube wiring, for example, is something that is very much a safety hazard that can be remediated in a couple different ways. One, ripping it all out. There's a couple other ways that some towns do permiss in terms of panel trip. There's some technologies in the electrical panel itself, as well as some GFI switches on the outlets. So there's some workarounds that can be done, but really they need to be totally ripped out in terms of wiring and rewired. So that's just one of several other things that come into play when you talk about windows and doors and different dimensions that have to be custom if you're going to replace them or upgrade them. So there's a lot of dollars and cents that adds up to maintaining and upgrading a historic home, but once it is done, it carries such significant value. But older homes, if you don't like them, that is something to consider when you are moving to the Garden State. But just note that there's a substantial amount of our home inventory that were built prior to World War II. Factor number 7 is flooding. Now, the most significant storm event that happened in New Jersey recently would be Superstorm Sandy, which started out as a hurricane, had basically been diminished to a superstorm status when it reached the Garden State. Now, that caused a lot of destruction, caused substantial flooding along coastal areas. Areas down the shore were impacted severely. Areas near New York City, like Hoboken, also impacted severely. But most of the state, it had to do with the damage that was caused by winds. So in the area that I am in, which is a little bit more inland, trees were knocked down. It looked like a war zone with the trees and telephone poles that were knocked down by that storm. With all that said, the more significant event as it pertains to flooding happened with Ida. And Ida, just a few years back, this was a hurricane, started out as a hurricane, worked its way up through the Gulf of Mexico and throughout the interior of the United States, but it stayed over New Jersey for roughly about 3 days. It just dropped heavy torrential rains, and this caused substantial flooding throughout northern New Jersey. So over the past 3 to 4 years since Ida, we've seen more regularity with some of these heavy rainstorms that result in flooding. Consequently, a lot of flood maps have changed. Areas that may not have been categorized as a flood zone just 10 years ago, now they are. So understanding what happens in that area, in that neighborhood, when there are heavy rains is absolutely critical to know when moving in. Good thing is there are definitely manageable flood insurance policies that can range anywhere from about $1,100 annually to just under $2,000 annually. These are manageable numbers by New Jersey standards. It's just that if that cost for annual flood, that annual premium gets to be around $3,000 or more, that is a much more significant kind of number that can, in many cases, double or triple the amount you pay in your standard homeowner's policy. And that's something to note as well. Flood insurance policy is an additional policy to your homeowners. The positive side of things is that there are plans in place both down the shore as well as locations like Hoboken where infrastructure and planning has been put into place to better mitigate and manage flooding events and how to divert, direct, and collect water that is built up in some of these major storm systems. So there have been plans put into place that are often layered with providing green spaces. So if you watch one of my Hoboken episodes, you've seen what was done with one of the local parks to help with adding green space as well as retaining and capturing excess water that comes in some of these severe storms. Number 6 is going to be the varied municipal codes. So if you live in one town, as I mentioned before, we are a state of 500, I want to say 64 different municipalities, and each municipality has its own set of codes and regulations. So what you can do to your home, or the process in which you do something to your home, or what is or is not acceptable in terms of a lot of different things outside of homes, but you get the point. You really want to have an awareness of what are some of these things that I cannot do. Now, all of these are not negative. Some of these do provide a lot of needed guideline and, rails, if you will, guide rails or guard rails to keep things in a certain way for that community that preserves a certain type of character, preserves a certain type of culture. But there's some things that can be a little bit of a hassle if you're looking to do certain things with your home. Obviously, even within a given community, there can be specific guidelines for your neighborhood if you are in a historic area, right? So what type of roof can you use? Can you put up a fence? If you do put up a fence, what type of fence it has to be? Are there siding restrictions, color restrictions? So these are things are within a neighborhood, within communities, but municipal codes are very, very relevant. So they have benefits, most definitely, but in some cases, they can alter your plans if you had a certain idea or vision in mind for the property that you bought. Factor number 5 is tolls. If you are from other parts of the country, you probably will not encounter any area that has as many tolls as New Jersey and New York. Yeah, so driving throughout New Jersey, if you're on the Turnpike, obviously you're going to go through tolls to get on and off. Garden State Parkway, similar. All right, to get in and out of New York City, you're paying a toll to get in, right? Pennsylvania, there's tolls for the Pennsylvania bridges as well. So New Jersey is a state where if you're using major roadways, you are most certainly going to pay tolls. It's a convenience factor to have Easy Pass, which is not unique only to New Jersey. There are other areas of the country that have a similar pass system that you just pay into. So the logistics of actually passing through a toll booth, the days of having to sit in line in this long line of cars are pretty much over if you have an Easy Pass, but it's something to be prepared for if you are not used to being in an area where there are a lot of tolls. Factor number 4 is population density. You've heard me say many times before that New Jersey is one of the most densely populated states in the country. Now, our population, and I'm looking at the number right here, 1,263 people per square mile. That's 11th, right? That's 11th in the country, but here's the reality. Most of the people that live in the state of New Jersey live in northern New Jersey. So if we were to cut New Jersey in half and just consider that northern section, I would venture to say that we are probably number 1 in density of population. You can multiply that, I'd say even more so if you consider just the counties that are neighboring directly to New York City within, I say, a 20 to 25 mile radius, right? So we're talking about probably 4 to 5 counties where the population density is just, it's significant. So if being around a lot of people, where you drive, where you shop, and I know some people say, well, you don't shop anymore, we just do Amazon. believe me, here you're going to see plenty of people at the mall, particularly around holiday season. You can forget about it. I've remember driving by the Paramus Mall, which it was like insane this past, holiday season. But something as simple as grocery shopping. We're coming up on Easter right now. Go to any grocery store right around a holiday like Thanksgiving, like Christmas, like Easter, even in the summertime, 4th of July, right? So you're gonna have this mass of people in a lot of the locations in New Jersey. Not everywhere, because you go South Jersey, a little more spread out, but that's something to consider. Now, with density of population, there's a lot of benefits that come with that. You get a lot of diversity. You get people from all areas of the world. You get foods from all areas of the world. You get to learn cultures and just different events that are just very unique to New Jersey, in that this is this worldwide community that all live in this one little area, right? So there's definitely some benefits to that, but being very much shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, relatively, you're gonna find that right here in the Garden State. Before we dive into the top 3, I wanna make sure that you take advantage of a few resources that I have available. Drop down into description and take a quick look at a few links that are available for you to get information. If you're relocating, there's a relocation guide that I will provide for you. There's also a general buyer's guide. I also am available for consultations to homeowners who just want to know what their home value is. No strings attached, but know your value for sure. Your home is a significant investment, even if you're not looking to sell it anytime soon. And cash offers, they are available. I have an investment network that will make an offer, a cash offer on a home. If you'd like to know what that number was, I will provide that to you as well. And absolutely take advantage of my Calendly link. If you wanted to book a call or have a quick conversation, that would be the way to go. I will respond within 48 hours to make a time for us to connect on a phone call. And now for our top 3 factors to consider before moving to New Jersey. Number 3 is traffic congestion. This area is one of the most congested areas of the country when it comes to traffic. Rivaling our area is going to be DC, Northern Virginia. I've experienced Southern California between San Diego and LA. And from what I've heard, Atlanta. I've never really driven around Atlanta, but some of you all who may be down south, do let me know about that. But Atlanta is another one that comes into play. But this is, yes, you have to be prepared. If you are a mass transit person in this area, is typically because of the reason of not wanting to fight traffic going in and out, usually in and out of New York City, but not even necessarily getting into the city, just driving in Jersey, being on that Garden State in between those peak times. I say in between about 3 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, in the morning, between probably about 7 up to 9 o'clock. Those are the highest peak time frames, but it is very much a challenge getting one place to another. We do have our share of major roads, but there are a lot of areas that you travel back and forth from in New Jersey that don't have a direct major road that you have to navigate through, maybe some towns and back roads just to kind of make your way. But the population density, again, there's a lot of people that live in these areas, particularly when we're talking about northern New Jersey. So congestion is definitely a factor. Now, always give the bright side of it. The bright side is that there is mass transit available for both bus lines. Every town pretty much has an express bus line. If you're central to northern New Jersey, there's an express line to New York City. There's train lines that are normally not too far away. Again, talking about the most densely populated areas, particularly, there's going to be a train line somewhere within probably like a 20-minute drive of where you live. All right, so mass transit is absolutely an option. So it's just a question of, do you want to bite the bullet, deal with tolls and traffic, or deal with the mass transit option that may in some cases be a little longer, but the comfort of just sitting down, listening to music, getting work done, whatever floats your boat as you take that transit. And for our top 2, they really kind of go hand in hand, but I'm going to start specifically with 2 property taxes. I know some of you are saying that should be number 1. You'll get it when I get there. I said why it's not in this particular video. So property taxes highest in the nation. Now, if you're in northern New Jersey, yeah, you're pretty much anticipating having a tax number somewhere around $10,000 or more. There's some areas where $10,000 would be a deep discount. All right. So there's parts of Essex County where it's your tip, and you'll drive through neighborhoods where $25,000 is the standard. And some of your more higher end neighborhoods, we're talking 65, 85,000, even 100,000, if you can believe that. All right. So 100,000 for annual property taxes. We're talking someone's salary for a year. These are the kind of property taxes that are in certain areas. So the property taxes often directly correlate to school quality. All right. So this is something that you have to have in mind always, is that, all right, if I really want a really high performing school district with a solid, track record, I'm going to have to pay a premium, which means it may not be the house that I want. I can afford more house in other areas of New Jersey or in other towns that don't have the same elite level school rating, but it's a matter of, do I want that house or do I want that school district where I have a little less house, but the school district that I want for my kids? So this is often a question that many families have to ask themselves and navigate that process. All right. Another factor with the property taxes are those who are retiring. So a lot of people who retire, mortgages paid off, but the reality is that you can move either down to southern New Jersey or move out of state to one of the southern states. You could pay far less in property taxes because your mortgage is paid off in most cases. You're just paying taxes. And why pay more to still live in that house where you can relocate maybe to some warmer weather, maybe to a slower pace of life, maybe not so densely populated? You get it, right? So yeah, so a lot of people who are in their retirement chapter will in fact relocate altogether. And that's something that's still happening now. Most people who are moving and are selling because the interest rates have been phenomenal coming off of that COVID time frame when people refinance, they're only selling because either they have to or it's time to move on. And then there was our number one factor that you must consider when moving to New Jersey is cost of living. Now, there are a couple exceptions for those who are moving from California. So if you've watched my California versus New Jersey episode, you'll see what that median household price is for California versus New Jersey, and it's almost double that, believe it or not. If you're moving from California, if you are moving from New York specifically New York City into New Jersey, then the cost of living factor is not going to be nearly as significant. There are some other areas of the country as well. I would say even that Northern Virginia area where you have to pay a lot. You're not going to pay the property taxes, but you're going to pay a good penny, right, for a home in Northern Virginia, one of those kind of areas. But you have to be prepared for cost of living differences. Car insurance, all right? So even if you're coming from another state that has higher cost in housing, your car insurance, your property taxes are most certainly going to increase here in New Jersey. All right. With that cost of living, there are definitely some perks that you're getting with living in the Garden State. All right, so you get the perk, and you've heard me say this any number of times if you watch my content. We are located in such close proximity to what many, including myself, considered one of the greatest cities in the world. Right there in New York, you're located within probably about an hour to an hour and a half drive to any of many beach locations. And you're located to the mountains, the ski slopes, the trails that are found in Pennsylvania and even in northwestern New Jersey. All of this is within an hour and a half of a drive for many, many people living in New Jersey. So the cost of living, the school quality, and we know there's a price that comes with that as well. But these are things that give you such access, as well as employment opportunities. We talked about employment as well. We have a shrinking working and middle class. We also have, and I won't call it unlimited, but we have a significant number of those white collar and more technical, high-skill jobs that are in New Jersey, or those who work in New York and just commute from New Jersey. So there are some trade-offs that come with it, but you have to be prepared for cost of living here in the Garden State. So these are 11 factors for you to consider. I'm hoping you're picking up some of those silver linings with each and every one of them, because I myself live right here in the Garden State for many years, half my life now, and I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. But for those who are considering or on your way, you know you're coming. You already know, right? So you're coming, whether it be employment or some other factor in life that's drawing you here to New Jersey. These are things to prepare for and to consider. So I hope you find some meaning in all of this. Please do click like, subscribe, and notification bell if you're finding this to be very helpful to you. And absolutely book me on Calendly for a conversation. If there's something that I can assist you with in providing some insights or just share some of your own experiences, I'm fine with that as well. So in the meantime, as I always say, stay safe and stay tuned to New Jersey Living.